Hello everyone and welcome back guys to more iRacing, where today we return with the VRS GT3 Sprint Series in our trusty new McLaren 720S. This time round we head to the Temple of Speed here at Monza and we end up in one of the best race-long battles I think I've ever seen in the sim. Last week was all about survival, this week is all about the fight for the win, but can we try to walk away with the #1 trophy? Get yourself subscribed if you're new, and let's do this thing. Well, we've gone one better in qualifying than we did last week, so hopefully we can try and go one better in the race as well, or maybe 3 or 4 better. We'll have to wait and see as to how things go. But of course, yeah, after a very, very soggy Silverstone, we've come to Italy, you know, southern Europe in September. The temperature is just starting to cool off a little bit, but it is still sunny skies here for another 40-minute race, this time round at the Temple of Speed. Ferrari on the front row alongside the Porsche. Are we going to be able to do anything in our McLaren car today once again? Obviously just waiting and seeing what the pace really does look like in this car, but lining up then, ready to go. Green flag racing. Their leader really has kept very, very uptight with the safety car, so we'll have to wait and see as to when he goes, and he's going to go very, very early. Porsche, they're just about able to get the throttle down at about the same time we did, and we'll hang on then as we make our way down in towards turn 1. Of course, the big question here is how is the slipstream going to affect things as well here today, as we'll try and get some clear viewing down in towards that first corner. See, Monza turn 1 is always an interesting affair, and hopefully, at least at the front of the field, we're going to be able to try and stay out of too much trouble. It looks like actually, as far back as I could see, most people have held on pretty well, so that's always a good way to start. You want to try and see as many cars as possible make it through the early laps. But of course, yeah, it is Monza, it is the Temple of Speed. Obviously, we'll take a look at the incident report at the end of the race and wait and see, obviously, whether anybody did get all tangled up. But of course, yeah, this circuit as well is all about slipstream and all about curb usage. So we'll wait and see as to what the car... It feels pretty good over the curbs. I'm not expecting it to maybe be as good as the Ferrari car, but it doesn't seem to be too bad with the setup on, as obviously lap 1 is completely dictated by trying to get some temperature up into the tyres. Leader just trying to bolt away a little bit, but it looks like our top 3 has generated just a small gap as well over P4, and then it's always down into the chicane here as well. I seem to struggle. Most of the braking points are very, very similar to the F1 game, but apart from trying to get the run there can be very, very difficult. So immediately we're going to try and look around the outside down in towards Parabolica, and I reckon we've got the run on the Porsche. Be interested to see whether he decides to fight it. No, he won't. So we've gained 1 spot then on this opener there, but all this has done is given Emrah just a little bit of a lead as he rounds his way out the final corner. I feel fairly confident with my pace in the car today. We'll wait and see what the consistency is like, but of course, yeah, as always, we are still right at the top of B license, so we need to make sure that we don't lose too much SR either, because I'm hoping we can quite quickly gain our A license once again in the sports car class, or I think actually for the first time ever in the sports car class since the split happened a couple of seasons ago as well. You can see very, very confident on the brakes in towards that first corner as well, so hopefully, you know, we might be able to leave UG as well just a little bit behind us there and really focus on trying to attack the race leader early in this race as well. Like I said, you know, this place is all about trying to get the balance out over those curbs, trying not to get yourself stuck in the sand trap either on the exit of the chicanes. As all, leader just has a little bit of a mistake there. We almost followed him. I think he just took the grass through the inside of the first lesbian. You can see through the second one as well. He is really struggling. Annoyingly, I'm kind of following his lines. Is that going to leave us vulnerable to UG as we make our way down the back straight? I think we should be safely far enough ahead of him. You know, in a GT3 car, you can't really afford to try and kind of just send it into a corner like that. Although, again, this is iRacing, so you never know what the guy behind you is thinking about doing either. You can only try and kind of guess so much as to what the guy behind you is doing there. Is he a David in that Porsche? I mean, I can't imagine. Oh no, Yuji's gone. Yuji's completely gone. So he must have made a mistake. Again, we'll take a look at that. But I was about to say, that Porsche can't be fun on the exit of Ascari there, and, well, looks like it has absolutely caught him out, as Emra... Oh, he's just trying to... I always forget on iRacing you can do that. I thought he was having a pit. Maybe he'd started this race on qualifying fuel. I've got my fuel set up ready to go as well right at the start of this one, because you can gain a little bit of time by doing that nice and early there. As again, you can just see Emra tip that car way too early in towards turn 1, tried to commit to the apex and scrub off the speed there, and I'm not getting much confident vibes from him early on. Took that pole by a couple of tenths of a second at the end of qualifying. He was one of the only drivers to improve on his second lap. But yeah, I'm not confident he's quick, but is he going to be consistent in a 40-minute race like this? That really is going to test drivers' patience as well. Already got a little bit of a buffer over the guys behind. As you can just see again, he attacks the grass through the first Lesmo. That time round, it doesn't work out as badly for him. So we struggle to meet the apexes through either Lesmo 1 or Lesmo 2. I want to try and keep my off-tracks as low as we possibly can as well in this race. I'm sure I will pick up a few, but yeah, hopefully we won't have too many problems with those as the race goes on as well. Just into Ascari. Like I said, that is one of the corners where I'm still struggling a little bit for confidence, and you just unsettle the car over the curbs. I'm hoping we do get the updated Monza in the not-too-distant future, because that's going to make the Ascari chicane so much easier to navigate as well there. But yeah, fastest lap actually coming in from a guy a little bit further back. It's maybe just too late on the brakes as well through the parabolica there. So Warren in P4 again looks to be pretty quick. Emra again looks to want to just use any kind of real estate you can possibly find around this venue. And I mean, we'll just keep using the slipstream. I'm not going to try and force the error too early on, to be honest. Based on the way he's driving, wouldn't surprise me if he makes the error by himself. So we'll be patient. We'll kind of see as to how things pan out. Crew chief there, absolutely bang on. Not too, like I said, not desperate to try and get a nose down the inside or do anything like that. I think we could see Emra make a mistake by himself here early on. I'm just getting that sense with the way he's driving, and that's one of the really, really important things to kind of work out on iRacing. Work out, you know, you got to make your own life easy. You got to work out sometimes whether you need to try and force an issue out of the car in front, or whether it's just worth staying out of trouble waiting to see whether they make a mistake themselves. And especially, you know, inside the first 10 minutes of a race like this, it can be critical laps in these races. But as critical as they can be for gaining you time in places, it's also the same the other way of losing time and potentially losing out on battles later on in the race as well. Of course, our braking points do have to be ever so slightly earlier as well. Tucked up in that DRS, because obviously we're carrying a little bit of extra speed off the into the corners. As that apparently is going to be a 1x then, so we've got to be a bit more careful that we don't try and wedge the car over that sausage curb on the exit of Ascari once more. Let's try and see if we can hit our marks this time through Parabolica, which I will. You can just get the car on kind of that white ledge on the inside of the curb. It won't really kind of drag the car in anymore or anything like that. But will certainly help out as well there. Is got to be so careful you don't hit that wall. It's really odd, I find, driving this car, because obviously the steering wheel is over on the left-hand side. Yeah, that wall might be quite scary. Oh, I did not judge, as well, I thought I might have outbroke myself there. Luckily, of course, you can lean on the ABS in these modern GT3s, so not too much of a problem on the exit of the corner there as well. And that does give us a little bit of extra confidence. We can try and fight as well. As yeah, Emra seems to be getting his pace up though, so it is just about kind of sticking with him, seeing whether he's going to try and go for, you know, qualifying laps each and every time, or whether he's just
after 14 minutes. Closes after 29 minutes.
So yeah, team reckon we can probably go close to half an hour on a tank. Obviously Silverstone last week was a real race of strategy, which unfortunately we didn't quite nail in the end, but we'll make sure we stay within that 1 second of Emra as well, who just now seems to be stretching his legs a little bit. They reckon we got 10 laps worth of fuel, so we should be able to go to about lap 15. But if it's going to be a 23 lap race, we might need a little bit extra towards the end of the afternoon as well. There is just struggling to hit our marks on this lap. Try and get a nice run out of Ascari still, and somehow even there we don't get a 1x, which I guess is good. But yeah, this is high stakes early on, and David as well behind, only 2 seconds back. Looks like he's got a little bit of breathing room from those cars a bit behind him. So if we do start battling and things like that, then that could make quite the difference here over the next few as well. We could end up having a 3-way scrap at the front of the order as 48.8 that time round. We go half a tenth quicker than the guy in front, and a tenth and a half quicker than the guy behind at Monza of all places. You know, lap times, you know, gaining the extra little bit can make all the difference there. As once again, Emra, again another mistake there, attacked the sausage curb. That left him with some understeer on the exit of the corner. We will once again get that power down and just keep filling his mirrors as best as we can here. I'm not sure. I mean, this car felt pretty good in the straight line. I don't know whether it's going to be enough to kind of make that Ferrari worry too much. That kind of line through the next chicane, though, certainly will. So he just, I mean, he didn't have to open the door there. I did nudge the brake just to be careful as we try and see if we can switch him on the exit. Not quite able to that time round, and we'll just slot back in. Try to get the run off of the second Lesmo as well. So already little battles starting to form. Just trying to work out where we're strong, where our rival is strong, and how we can utilise this to benefit ourselves over the next few laps as well. As definitely into Ascari. That Ferrari is strong over the curbs, but we get the line nailed like that, which we have done. And we can definitely still get the run in him, and now we might be able to try and have a look down the inside in towards the final corner. Suck up, we'll feel his mirrors, we'll just show the nose, make him wonder what I'm going to do. But we'll think better of it that time around and focus on trying to get a good run off the corner, just making him nervous. I think we can unsettle him early on. It sounds terrible, it sounds so brutal, but I reckon we can force a proper mistake out of him in the not too distant future either there. As you can see once again, try and use up all of the real estate. Try and have a look to the outside. Or down the inside in towards someone there. Is not a fan of that moving around in the braking zone. I'm happy with him kind of defending the inside, and then if we're not there, going back to the racing line. But I'm not a fan of kind of swinging out and then swinging back in again into the braking zone to try and kind of make me second guess what he's going to do. Because, well, ultimately, if you do that too many times, I am someone... I'll go ahead, I'll say it. I will commit still to trying to make the overtake, and if you then move at the last moment and we collide, it's probably going to come off worse for you than it is me, because you're kind of going to get lifted up by the front of the car and tipped into a spin. So I would just say, if you're watching this and you've raced me, I can be aggressive. I will get the elbows out sometimes, if need be. And people that move around in the braking zone annoy me more than anything else in the world. At least in iRacing, as it is. But yeah, anyway, see Emraz there use that to gain a little bit of an advantage once again. So we'll just kind of take, I would have thought, a couple of laps just to wind up to the back of him once more. Well, that was pretty much, I think, as much curb sensibly as you want to get there. I'm surprised you're allowed to get away with so much curb on the exit. You know, considering how brutal Ascari is on iRacing for the 1Xs. Yeah, I'm surprised it gives you so much leeway on the exit of the corner there as well. Emra again just running a little bit wide, but we kind of follow him. We'll still get the run off of the corner though, so we'll close back up as Michelle there just up in front. Not too sure what's happened. Yeah, crew chief wants me to get on with it, as he would. I might be aggressive in terms of my wheel-to-wheel combat, but crew chief is on another level. Anybody in front of you for more than about 5 seconds and crew chief is immediately telling you to get on with it, get round him. I suck, everything like that. I want to get a new pack for crew chief. I want to listen to kind of other instructions and things like that, but I really don't know what one to get, because I do think he does a pretty good job still. I always think the Samir one is always quite funny. Maybe I need to look at downloading that at some point in the future, or one of the other kind of cool ones. I think Where AI has obviously come so far in the last next kind of 18 months or so. That could be quite interesting. Some of the AI ones. Maybe I'll make my own for people.
Looks like it's Lopez.
Oh, no, David's made a mistake. David's binned it as well then. So, again, we'll take a look at that after the race. But David seems to be in big trouble. Trying to close in that gap on your top two here, and that has not worked out well for him. So suddenly now Warren as well, who does look fairly racy, moves up into P3, but that once again is just going to eliminate a little bit of the pressure from ourselves. As plenty of curb once more through the exit of the corner there. As there we go, Ford Mustang. I've seen many of them inside the sim, but yeah, luckily Michelle there will move out of the way quite nicely. Actually, did a very good job. They're kind of just letting us both through, without kind of getting in the way too much. Through that final corner once again we will go, trying to get that power down, and again we might get close to Emrah by the time we get down in towards turn 1. I mean, why do that every single lap? We clearly know what your game is. It's clearly not working that well for you, so I'm not too sure why he's trying it repeatedly. So again, back down in towards turn 1. He's definitely slightly more confident on the brakes, but I'm just trying not to kind of overstep it or anything like that. Because I'm guessing that Mustang's got some pretty bad damage, because I don't know why they're that slow seemingly everywhere around this lap. It doesn't actually seem to be that bad off the corners. But yeah, certainly I think it's just one that's trying to get to the checkered flag in a race like this. Maybe gain some SR for the troubles as well. Maybe miss the grid procedure there and started on qualifying fuel and has lost a lap because of that. I don't know. Team already talking about the pit window here, so undercut or overcut could be quite important as this race goes on. So it is going to be interesting to kind of see what Emrah does, what we have to do in terms of that, whether we just end up diving in at the same time or what. I think, yeah, we are going to need a little bit of extra fuel though than what I've set up in the car provisionally, so we've got to be careful with that. But yeah, I just want to keep trying to lean on him a little bit more there, as that's not the line I needed. I always do that through Ascari. I'm surprised it took me that long in this race to make that mistake. I always run deep through the first part there on the exit, and it's so brutal for giving you a 1x as well. So we have got to be careful with that more and more as this race goes on. Admittedly, I've only picked up 2 instant points in the first 15 minutes or so it could have been a whole lot worse for us. But it would not shock me if we end up with at least 1 4x by the end of this race as well there. So it would be interesting to see if I did get the lead, whether we could just start building up a little bit of a gap there. As 4 thousandths of a second difference on that lap time. So just see again, Emrah really just want to try and park it in towards that first corner now. Trying to just play his life a little bit more safe now. I think it's kind of worked out that going for those really aggressive lap times isn't actually going to help that much. It just kind of increases the risk of making a mistake here. So yeah, it's all about trying to just control the pace, dictate the pace as well, but making sure, yeah, that you're confident in your own car. So we just get a little bit of a wobble on the exit of the corner. It can still be difficult, like all of the GT3s on iRacing, just to try and get it planted off the corners again. Somehow nudging the wall on the inside of Lesmo 1. That is not the ideal line, if you ask me. Yeah, crew chief still wanting us to keep him under pressure. So we'll top it up to about 8 gallons of fuel, and actually give us 8 laps towards the end of the race. I think that should be enough to see us through to the end. It reckons 6 gallons is about 10 minutes worth. So yeah, we might just need a tiny bit more than that, I guess, as well. Always try and just do a little bit extra in case we end up needing to do 1 extra one. I think we'll go with 8.7 gallons. That should give us 9 laps to the checkered flag. So even if we do end up with an extra lap or something like that, hopefully it'll make the difference. I've also remembered, don't put new tyres on the car either. Because in a VRS race like this, that is a very easy way to, you know, kind of throw away quite a lot of time there, and you're never going to gain it back by the end of the afternoon either. Crew chief now reckons, or Race Labs even reckons, we are going to get 23 laps out of it. But again, that I don't think takes into account the fact, obviously, we've got a pit before the end of this race as well there, as again, just making a little bit of a mistake on the exit of turn 1. Yuji is still in this race. I think he's had to pit, but has to come out there. So Michelle's actually multiple laps down. So I'm guessing got involved in a lap 1 tangle and is just here for SR. And maybe hoping that there's some chaos as well later on in the afternoon. But, you know, I respect that. I think it's always a good idea. If you still feel like racing, you know, maybe it gets you a bit of practice in if you're going to have another go at it. Something like that as well. You see, yeah, a lot of the sand now has been kind of chucked around the venue as well and things like that. So, yeah, other drivers, you know, as you would expect, have made mistakes at various points throughout this race. And I tell you what, Warren as well behind he's quick, but I don't think he's any quicker than Emrah and I. So, hopefully, we won't have to worry too much about that as well. Emrah just a little bit earlier on the brakes than I was expecting him to be there. Almost clattered into the back of him. Well, that might compromise him more than it did me. But he doesn't get a particularly good run off of the corner once again. Tuck into the slipstream once more. Try and just get that a little bit closer as well. Try and get the run off of that final corner, and maybe now we can try and have a look for it. So we'll get on that power just that little bit earlier. Might just be able to keep it going at that final turn, but as we tuck into the slipstream, I think this time around we're going to get the run on him. Try and show the nose to the inside. He's actually going to give it to me rather surprisingly there, so we'll take that one wheel to wheel back down in towards turn 1. It's going to be the battle of the late breakers, and we're pretty even into it. We'll try and switch him on the exit of the corner. Try and get that power down. Not quite though. Traction control. Traction control clearly working wonders on that Ferrari as well there to get the power down. And now we might be able to get a run through Curva Grande. Also try and have a look once again to the inside.
Still there.
Nice and tidy there. Slow it down on the apex. We'll try and make sure I don't do that on the exit of the corner. I'll throw a little bit of sand in his face as well. But into the lead we'll go then for the first time in this race. And now, well, the dynamic has shifted. The hunter has become the hunted. And we don't know how aggressive he's going to be. As you can immediately see, trying to take as much curb as he possibly can on the second Lesmo. So I think that's going to cost him. I think he'd rather be in front than behind there. And I reckon he might struggle just a little bit to kind of manage his lines and things like that at the second half of this race. Well, that's not what I need to do. Speaking of managing the lines through these corners as well, he's going to get a big run on me here. Just try and hold it in the middle of the road, kind of let him decide if he's even going to get close enough which way he's going to go. And luckily, yeah, that time round will hang on. So he's quicker to be into the second chicane according to crew chief, so that is interesting. Just struggling to put the power down a little bit there. Tyres, I mean, they're still absolutely fine, but just, you know, taking a little bit of grip out of them. I think that last lap was pretty aggressive on them.
You're looking really good. Come on, keep your focus.
As if we were to win this, 97 iRacing in our back pocket would certainly be quite useful as well there. But again, we just want to dictate the pace in towards those first couple of corners. You know, he's now got to spend a little bit of time learning as well as, oh, he actually runs it off into the sandpit on the exit. We got 2.6 gallons worth of fuel. So are we going to be able to stretch one extra lap out of the tank? Is it going to be worth trying to stretch one extra lap out of the tank?
Now, 0.9.
Try and just do a little bit of lift and coast and see where we're at come the end of this lap. Is again just making a little mistake there. Seemingly both of us are driving worse. Now we've swapped positions, which is quite funny. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get that extra lap out of the tank either, which is a little bit of a shame. But will hopefully mean, yeah, we've got a little buffer as well of extra fuel in the car, ready for the second half of this race as well. I think we are going to overfuel slightly, but hopefully it's not going to affect us too badly. But are we going to see Emrah try and go for the undercut, try and do something different with it at all? Because fuel strategy can make a difference, especially with the slipstream being as powerful as it is around a venue like this. You know, if you can save 2 seconds on pit road by obviously being a little bit more careful, it can really help you out there. As there we go, we just now dip down to 2 laps worth. So, whoa. Emra, they're very, very close, almost into the back of me. So it is going to be tight. I reckon we could afford to gamble it if we wanted to. And maybe enjoy 1 extra lap out there. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Of course, we have had the benefit of, you know, slipstream and things like that throughout most of this race as well. The crew chief wants me in now, but when have I ever listened to crew chief before when it comes to race strategy either? So, oh, come on. Just Emra filling my mirrors there. Just kind of tapered off the brake a little bit more than I needed to at the wrong point. I don't even know where my pit box is. I would assume we're quite far down the back of the pit lane, because I was one of the lowest I-rated people coming into this one. I can't remember. We're number 18, so we're doing pretty well to even kind of be at the front of the order as well at this stage of the afternoon, as that's the line I wanted through the chicane. Should just be able to get the power down nice and tidy on the exit as well. So just opening up a little bit of a gap there, as I don't know whether that was netcode or what, but Emra again making a bit of a mistake. He just again clipped that inside wall. I really don't get how he's managing it. I don't think I've ever hit the inside wall here at Monza in a car like this in a fashion like that. So it's almost quite impressive. He's got too much front end in that Ferrari, it would appear. But what he is doing is giving us just a little bit of a buffer, which is allowing us to lift and coast, save that fuel as well. This crew chief still adamant he wants us in the end of this one. Saved a little bit of fuel as this lap has unfolded as well. So I reckon, yeah, we're going to have 8, or we might just get 9 laps in by the end of this. But we are going to go that 1 extra lap. Lift and coast just a little bit there, but if he gets held up in a bit of traffic, that could make all the difference as well. So we can't even see our spotter annoyingly in the pit lane. But we've just dipped under 1 lap's worth of fuel as we cross the start-finish line there. So Emra into the pit lane. Yeah, not to obviously disappeared off my relative, won't he, temporarily, because obviously he's in those pits. But hopefully we won't get undercut by him or anything like that, and then have all the work to do in the second half of the race as well, as obviously now the car's low on fuel. Trying to get power down off of the corners is very, very easy as well, because there's much less weight dragging the car around the circuit as well. But just got to be careful to see when the car's going to start spluttering, things like that. Let's just lift and coast a little bit into every braking zone. Let's see where actually this is working really, really nicely for us. It's a shame we got a box this lap, because it could have actually been quite a fast one. Slow in, fast out. It's always the way to go. And it's working for me. Through the next chicane we'll go, I think. Sorry, through the next corner we'll go, I think. We've got 2 guys that have opted to stay out for the extra lap as well. So they've clearly made their strategy work quite nicely. So we've got 0.4 gallons worth of fuel in the car. Again, just blend there as fuel pressure now just drops as well. So that is the moment we could start just seeing a couple of little power blips. Ideally don't want to see any of that until we get into the pit lane. There's 1 litre left in the car. We'll get it up into 6th and we'll coast it down in towards that final corner. So yeah, looks like Emra isn't going to get held up in slower traffic either, which is a little bit of a shame. So we make our way then out of the final corner. We've also got to be careful. We get the car slowed down into the pit lane as well. So nice and easy on the way in.
What's your speed limit in the pits?
Plenty of time could be lost, plenty of time could be gained. So are we gonna... Oh, there we go. It's just starting to blip out as well. So we've pretty much nailed that in terms of the fuel. As we'll just make sure we get the car stopped at the right spot. There we go. So, yeah, we'll put a little bit of fuel back in it to go to the end of the race as well then. And, well, the car's got life once more. Just over 12 minutes to go. As I'll be staggered if anyone's able to do an extra lap over me. And almost forgetting that we've got to try and go racing once again. So as we make our way out of the pit lane, where is Emra going to be? There he is. Only 3 seconds back, 2 seconds back. We've got 1 lapped car as well, but we have kept ahead of him, which is really, really good there. Make sure, obviously, we don't get done for crossing the pit lane exit line, but you can still see he's only a second back. I think maybe just trying to go too aggressive in towards that first chicane to get in the range as well. Hopefully Matt in the Audi will dive out of the way pretty soon, but I'll take a bit of slipstream on this outlap as well if he's willing to give it to me here. And yeah, with like 7 or 8 laps to go of this race, I think we've put the right amount of fuel in the car. So there we go. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. He get in the way of Emrah as well. I believe he will, so that might work out quite nicely for us as well through the next couple of corners. Let's just keep trying to build up a gap over that Ferrari and maybe try and go fastest lap as well before the end of this race. Still seeing, yeah, we've got 1.3 seconds now over Emrah here, so we're doing pretty well at this stage. And I mean, yeah, after we had a pretty decent first race in the McLaren last weekend as well. Obviously, first ever wet race, I wasn't expecting to win or anything like that. I just wanted to survive that one. We can get a win here today at Monza, carry on the campaign in a decent fashion. I want to try and do as many VRS GT3 races as we can this season. Obviously, we'll wait and see as to how we get on. There was a little mistake through that final corner. Gotta be so careful on the AstroTurf there. As you can see, Emrah again pushing behind me, trying to close in just that little bit more. Now has got to be the lap. We try and go fastest here. Now has got to be the opportunity to open up, as we've definitely overfueled the car just a little bit here. 10 minutes to go from the Temple of Speed, so yeah, 6 laps is a pretty safe estimate. Obviously, I was a little bit worried that we might just need the extra laps worth, but yeah, at the moment, I don't think we're quite going to get there. Maybe had this race gone slightly differently, we might have needed it, but I think we should be pretty safe with just 6 laps to go. 7.5 laps worth of fuel. But are we going to see Emrah kind of find something extra in that Ferrari towards the end? We were really, really quick early on. He seems to have found a bit of confidence as well, being the chasing car. But I just think, you know, one mistake could really upset his rhythm or something towards the end of this one. So I'll just try and tip the nose in again there. I mean, he'll get carried along by the slipstream, but I think for us it's important. I think if we just keep hitting our lap times, he's not going to be able to do much against me unless we kind of make a mistake or something like that, or he tries to go for an uber aggressive move. I think we've got the pace in the car just to try and hang on towards the end of this. So a little bit wide there on the exit of Ascari. Like I said, I want to try and chase fastest and see whether he's able to beat his own best lap time. But of course, yeah, you are at a slight disadvantage now. So you've got a little bit more experience in the car in the exact conditions you're racing in, but you are on heavy fuel again with older tyres. Not to make too much of a difference towards the end of the race there. Nice run out of the final corner. Yeah, we'll just try and take shortest line back down towards turn 1, line of least resistance.
Sector 1 is 0.3 off the pace.
Yes, we lost a bit of time in sector 1, but our consistent lap times still are doing us a world of wonders. As well, a little bit wide. You can just see again, Emrah nailed that line through the first couple of corners there. He's confident on the brakes. When he gets it nailed, he can use those curbs to really kind of drag that Ferrari in. And now, are we just seeing him building up? He's obviously got that extra lap. He's weaving around, trying to fill my mirrors. But we have still got track position, which of course is king at this stage of the race there. Fairly decent run off of the corner. Just kicking up a tiny bit of gravel, but not losing any speed of our own off of that turn. It's definitely through the Lesmos that we are quick in comparison. As long as I don't make a mistake or anything like that there, is nicely attacking the exit. It's the best run I think I've had out of there all day. And again, I don't know how good that Ferrari is going to be in the slipstream. He's definitely going to try and force an error towards the end of this one. It has been a brilliant battle up to this point. But as long as we hang firm, as long as we hit our marks, surely Emrah can't do a lot about it there as well. Attack that curve quite nicely on the exit there. We'll get a good run off of the turn. And you just open up a couple of extra tenths. You eliminate the opportunity for him to think about trying to go for it. Can make all the difference towards the end of a race like this. Oh, I see again trying to fill our mirrors. You might have been slightly early on the brakes. I don't think it was enough there. I don't think we, it wasn't that we broke 200 yards too early or something like that. Is he going to be able to get a run on me back down towards turn 1? I think if he is, I'm not going to fight it this time. We'll allow him the door if he wants to try and go for the dive bomb. I don't want to see contact this late on. So just thinks about it there. We'll think better of it, though. Down at that first turn, as it's so important. Just get the car over that orange sausage curb on the first part of that corner. Like I said, I really do hope we do get the new version of Monza in the not too distant future. Hopefully, you know, it won't need a full rescan or anything like that. It's just a few curbs that have obviously been tweaked, and it, you know, worked pretty well for the IRL Grand Prix here a few weeks ago. See, I know this is a GT3 race and things are very, very different, but it could still be exciting there. It's just a little wobble again over that curbing. See, he's definitely still does make those little errors as well behind. So our 5th 1X of the day.
We've been warned about track limits.
Exactly what I needed, but yeah, we often have a habit inside iRacing of kind of running the first 2/3 of a race very clean and tidy, and then the final third I just start picking up 1Xs for fun. So hopefully that's not going to be the case towards the end of this one. Yeah, 3 more laps after this, I believe.
Don't be pressured. Keep your exit speeds up.
Yeah, crew chief again, absolutely bang on there. We've just got to make sure we focus on getting the runs off the corners, and we have still got a couple of lapped cars that we're going to have to deal with before the end of this, so we've got to be careful. We've got to make sure they get out of the way. Don't want to take unnecessary risks, as again, see how confident he is through that final corner on the brakes. Might be able to use the run on the exit as well. 5 minutes to go, 3 laps left here from the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza. And, you know, I think this time around again he's going to get very, very close in towards that first corner. You know he's got to start taking his opportunities, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Down the inside, but way too hot in. And we'll try and go back around the outside on the exit. Kind of read that one, could see that one coming from a mile off. And able to get back around the outside there through turn 2. I'm quite happy though that he did give me the room. You know, I will give him credit there. He could have quite easily just tried to shoulder me out on the exit of the corner, but a good attempt. Not quite good enough though. And like I said, we could read that one pretty easily. It's again a little mistake there, but oh, he's made a much worse hash of that. And that might just be the window we need towards the end of this race. Just opening up a 1 second gap again. So Emrah went for it. Couldn't quite slow it down, and maybe just overheated those tyres in towards Della Rosa's chicane.
0 seconds.
Now suddenly, yeah, we've got a little bit of breathing room. We've got a little bit of a gap as we make our way down the back straight. Now it's so critical that we hit our lap times towards the end of this, because with a gap like that, with our pace being as similar to each other as it has been, 1 second there could make all the difference and just eliminate any kind of chance that he's got towards the end of this one. I mean, Warren is still not that far away. If something were to happen, we were to come to blows towards the end of this, and I think all of that battling as well will hopefully mean we haven't got to deal with a lapped car before this race is done and dusted as well. But 2 laps to go then by my calculations here from the Temple of Speed. Yeah, we're barely going to go over the 40-minute mark, to be fair, by the time we finish this. And that gap, 1.2 seconds. Let's try and hold on to it. Just keep that little bit of a buffer. As you can see, yeah, 51.0 as well for Emrah that time round. And let's just try and hit our marks there. Late on the brakes in towards that first corner. Still able just to, you know, you've got that confidence in the car now. You know it will get slowed down. And you can ride the throttle on the exit, especially once more the fuel starts to burn off. Now would be the perfect time to try and set a new personal best here, just to really eliminate any kind of shot on that final one. Racing is so much about psychology at the end of the day, and I feel like today we've played this one pretty well. Just were patient, decisive with our overtakes that have really just made this race work for us, and have tried to get as much out of it by doing as little as possible. Almost the Alan Prost kind of strat as well there. Win the world title or pull out the points by doing as little work as you possibly can there. As again, we get another decent run off the exit of Ascari. Of Lesmos there. We need 2/10 if I want to try and claim that fastest lap for ourselves. So let's wait and see what we can do. So a nice run into the Ascara chicane there. But again, the exit is kind of dictated by how well the car sits there. And it did sit quite nicely, and you can see that gap is opening up to Emra behind as well. So this might be the pivotal moment towards the end of this race. So make sure he doesn't even get a look in there. Nice and tidy on the brakes in towards that final corner. Chuck it in aggressively. Get the power down on the exit though. And we're still going to get a pretty decent tidy run. We've got Michelle into the pit lane there, but I think that's just going to snooker it right towards the end of this one. One more lap to go. And a 48.5 there. New fastest lap of the day. That's exactly what we want to see. So hopefully we are going to try and walk away with that one as well. Oh, that was optimistic in towards the first corner. After the fastest lap last time round, let's just try and bring it home. Oh, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? It was always going to happen. But, I mean, 40 minutes of just straight battling for the win here. This one has been absolutely sensational. And really, really good fun as well. It's been a good test, I think, for both myself and Emra, as well as, you know, kind of defending, attacking, patience. You know, the curbs here as well at Monza. But to walk away with the result, if we can bring this home on this final lap, I'd be very, very happy with. And I feel like, you know, we both deserved it. But if ever it's going to end up like that, and, you know, I'm kind of hoping that we are going to be the one that's able to claim it as well there. Thomas still not that far in front of me. Don't know whether he's going to let me by on this final lap to save himself, having to do an extra one here. But McLaren, as long as we make it through Ascari, I can start to safely believe that the win is going to be ours here today as well there. Obviously, we took the win in the all-new BMW last week in the Falcon Tyre Challenge. As we've got just one corner left to navigate, we might be about to get our second win of the season. And once again, in the new car as well. One more corner to go here from the Temple of Speed. Winning in the Falcon Tyre Challenge was one thing. Winning in VRS is certainly another one. A brilliant race-long battle with Emra as well. But at the final corner, it is P1, baby, here at Monza. And almost 100 iRating to go with it as well. That's exactly what we're talking about. That was brilliant fun. But yeah, let's go take a look at our incident report. And then we'll take a look at the final race results. Well, it looks like everyone then somehow did make it through turn one clean and tidy in this race. But I don't think it's going to take long before the carnage unfolds here. Audi down on the brakes into the second chicane. And I think that one is just simply netcode. Love that to kickstart things. Here we go, some proper stuff. Ferrari and McLaren have a little bit of an off there result. Another Ferrari comes involved. And, well, that one was just, I think, a bit of bad timing and everything like that. Here we go. This is what happened to Yuji behind me. Just dropped the car on the exit of Ascari as well there. And yeah, that corner will absolutely punish you if you get away with it or get it wrong. Ford Mustang through the final corner. Just going to drop it. And I think, yeah, again, a little bit disappointing. Got a bit of bumping and bashing around down at the first chicane there between three Porsches. And the one Ferrari involved decides he's going to go for a spin and get himself out of that situation there. Next up, Ferrari again, making his way through the chicane. Just gets a little snap, hits the wall. And I think that was, yeah, going to be... Was it David as well that was not that far behind us? Down in towards first corner. He's completely missed his braking point. Tries to get through. I'll be honest, looking at that one, he should have gone to the left-hand side. I mean, it's obviously very, very difficult to do in those kind of split decision moments, but yeah, always try and go away from the racing line as well. They're running the cut to the inside of a corner. Very, very rarely are you going to be able to thread the needle in that kind of situation there. There's the Ferrari going off as we've got a couple of Porsches again. Oh, more bumping and bashing going on between our three Porsche cars that were in a battle with each other. Mustang trying to go down the inside of a McLaren who's defending incredibly aggressively. And you got yourself to blame for that one. You could have opened up the corner for yourself and hung on with it. As McLaren, yeah, goes for a spin. Is he going to rejoin safely? Based on his driving standards so far, I'm going to guess not particularly. Could have been worse. Could have also been better. Porsche again, second Lesmo this time. Haven't seen many errors there. That's going to be a big one, though. And unfortunately, yeah, going to damage his steering in quite a bad way. This is what we want to see. 3 wide down in towards the final corners. Oh, the McLaren, they'd actually done pretty well to begin with. But yeah, McLaren just tried to cut in a bit too aggressively there. And will get punished for it. McLaren again, a little bit further behind. think this is going to be, again, the same Audi. No, he's actually going to get clattered into the back of there by the McLaren, and somehow they both hang on to it rather impressively there with limited damage to either car. Ferrari, this was the guy, obviously, that we were battling with. No, it wasn't, because he's binned it off of the corner there as well, and we'll try and get back going again. Please don't rejoin. Yeah, luckily, we'll be quite sensible with that one down in towards Ascari. Yeah, just a bit of netcode on there. And then in towards the first Lesmo again. I think this was, yeah, Emra, who we were battling with, did nudge the wall there as well. So iRacing registered that one. This Porsche is looking incredibly beaten up by this point of the race. And again, we'll just skim the wall as well there and get mugged off around the outside through Ascari. Emra, again, nudges that wall. Like I said, I really don't know how he's managing that when all is said and done. And again, the other Porsche, is he going to do the same thing? Yes, he is. Very, very odd. Ferrari now trying... Clearly on his phone. That's why you don't text and drive, kids. That Ferrari there, I think, has gone and damaged the steering in the process. And we'll pick up another 1X on the exit of the corner. What's going to happen? Again, nudge the inside wall. And there we go. That is going to be all of them here from Monza. Let's go take a look at our final race results. And yeah, hopefully we'll have held on to potentially get promoted to A license. Well, there we go as well then. We have been promoted back to A license here on the road side of things, or at least for the first time ever in the sports car class as well. An A3.95. I will take that very, very happily there. Let's take a look at our final race results from that race as well then, as to just who did what. We started P3. Of course, we took the win, minus 0.04 SR in the end, but 97 iRating gained was absolutely what we needed there, and a 3-second gap over Emra come the end of the race as well. Warren in P3 ahead of Graham as well there. So, I mean, Warren, 16 incident points. He certainly cut it fine towards the end of that race. Who moved the furthest forward, though? Big winners from that. Caesar, 24th to 8th in the end, 16 spots gained. And did anybody get through with 0 instant points as well? No. So, yeah, we did pretty well in that regard there. And I think Olke as well deserves a bit of a shout out in that regard, especially when he went from 21st to 10th as well. With just 1 incident is very, very good going. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon with more iRacing content.